Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam. We are in Kathopanishad, sixth part or the third part with the third lesson, something like that. And we are seeing the verse number 11 concluded that 12 we have to start. And what did it say? The 11th verse. Tam yogamiti manyante sthiravindriya dharanam apramattastada bhavati yogo hi prabhavapyayau. That what is yoga or the yoga? Yoga is firm control over your senses. Tam yogamiti manyante. So it is accepted. And what is that? Sthiram indriya dharanam. That all your indriyas are sthir. They are not wavering. They are not attracted out of desire. They are not attached. See, I explained to you last week, and what is that? At this moment, wherever you are sitting, your senses are open. There is a video in front of you, there is a laptop in front of you, there is a camera in front of you, there is pen, paper, table, whatever, wherever you are sitting. But that is not creating a problem for you. Problem is what you are listening. That is a problem. Because you are trying to understand. So what is happening with all the other objects? Merely seeing is happening. It's just emptiness. Not emptiness. It is seeing without attachment. It is seeing without desire. When you seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, seeing, all that is happening without desire. But what is happening here? When you are hearing to me, you are hearing with desire. You are hearing with giving value to the words that are coming. You are attached to this. And therefore, here, just at the sensory level we are talking here, that when the senses become calm, when the senses become content, when the senses are no longer running outwards in order to validate anything, associate with anything, then alone it is called yoga. Apramattastada bhavati yogo hi prabhavapyayo. When the senses don't run out, naturally the mind will be less disturbed, mind will be quieter, and as a result, the yogi becomes free from the desires in the mind, the fickleness of the mind, because no data coming in. Think about it. So many things in the room. While you are listening to me, your eyes are going here and there. But are the objects in the room creating a thought in your mind? No. because even the eyes are perceiving, but they are not receiving. Huh? They are perceiving but not receiving. If they receive, then the thought is created. You are perceiving the sound and receiving the sound, therefore thought is created. Then afterwards the I will say, I like this one or I don't like this one, or this I understand or I don't understand. You understand what we are saying? Apramattastada. So if the senses are only perceiving, there are no thoughts in the mind. See? And this you are practicing in your life every day. In fact, every moment. We need Upanishads to open our eyes to what is already taking place. And this is how God functions. There is one thing called Ishvara Drishti and one thing called as Jiva Drishti. Jiva Drishti is where receiving is happening. Then attachment is happening, association is happening, involvement is happening. How is Ishwar looking at the whole Srishti? What will be his vision towards the whole world? What is your vision towards all other objects in the room? Is his vision towards the entire creation. So at times, unknowingly, you are practicing Ishvara Drishti. Drishti, vision. God's vision and individual vision. God's vision is uninvolved vision, therefore it is yoga, and individual's vision is involved vision, therefore it is bhoga. If we take this as a cue and start functioning in life, every now and then remind yourself, I must practice Ishwar Drishti, not Jiva Drishti. How wonderful! And you are practicing it anyway. Unknowingly it is getting practiced. Now you have to do it consciously. You have to do it consciously. Today I went to physiotherapy, and there they asked me to get up and sit down, get up and sit down from the chair. But what I have to do, I have to keep both the feet straight, and when I stand up from the chair, my knees must not go outwards. They should be straight. And she did not tell me this, that they should not go outwards. She said, just stand up and sit down. After 2-3, she says, did you see what you are doing? Unknowingly, by default, my foot automatically became like that and the knees went outwards, and then I sat down. So to get up and sit down, the knees will be pointing outwards at an angle. She said, now you need to do this exercise for 30 times. Do it consciously, do it slowly, so that your attention is absolutely on, that the feet are straight and your knee is pointing towards the feet. They should not, the knees should not flare out. They should remain straight. And after what I am telling you, why I am telling you this? Conscious. And once I did it consciously, it became, I was able to, initially it was difficult because naturally the knees go that way, for not just me, everyone. Exactly, you put it into what is into your life. Alert living, vigilant living. Am I practicing Jiva Drishti or am I practicing Ishvara Drishti? Simple. This can be your pointer to live with which you can live in your life. And it can be practiced towards your children, your grandchildren, your clothes, your body, your everything. It will be directly proportional to how badly you want to know the truth, or how badly, how eagerly, how thirsty you are to be the truth, not even know the truth, be the truth. So tam yogamiti manyante sthiram indriya dharanam apramattastada bhavati yogo hi prabhavapyayo. And in this manner, uh, uh, one must uh, one must not live in default process at default level. One must live absolutely conscious, not conscious of the world, but conscious of the self or the being that he is. And then it says, here we were in the 12th. Now this is the Sambandha Bhashya. So last week, towards the end of so here it was told, योगो हि यस्मात् प्रभवाप्ययौ उपजनापाय धर्मकः इति अर्थः अतः उपायपरिहाराय प्रमादः कर्तव्य इति अभिप्रायः. And here we told that when we do the yoga is about it's enfolding everything, and enfolding, it's happening every day. It is happening to you when you go to sleep, but it is happening at a default level. It is not happening consciously, because you are not conscious when the mind is disinterested in the world, that the mind is thinking of the sleep, that the mind is not wanting to get involved in the world. This whole process is going on, but it is happening naturally, but we are not conscious of the process. So here it was told that that when this laya takes place, when this introvertedness takes place, one must not it must not happen mechanically. The word pramad also means default, also means mechanical. So it must not happen mechanically. You must be totally conscious of the withdrawal. Otherwise, in sleep we are withdrawing from the world. In coma we are withdrawing from the world. In savikalpa samadhi we are withdrawing from the world. Nirvikalpa samadhi we are withdrawing from the world. In drugs we are withdrawing from the world. In alcohol we are withdrawing from the world. So all these are default. So we must reduce the pramad. Pramad is an expression of tamas. Nidra alasya pramad. Repetitiveness must be avoided. Awareness must be maintained, and that withdrawal can happen, is happening all the time. As I am speaking, every word that I am speaking is getting withdrawn. Every time I blink my eyes, I am withdrawing from the world. Every time I breathe out, I am withdrawing from the breath. Every time a thought concludes, I am withdrawing from that thought. Every time the waking and dream conclude, I am withdrawing from the waking world and the dream world and the deep sleep also, because I wake up. But all this is happening at default level. And another word for default in Sanskrit is pramad. And that pramad is an expression of tamas, is an expression of inertia. We want to convert it into dynamism and eventually purity, meaning focus. So be alert, be vigilant. Spirituality is not only on the seat of meditation, it is happening right now. You are spiritual right now. But do we know it? Or we are lost in the words? Or we are lost in the body? So this is a word of the teacher Adi Shankaracharya is saying, this is how we must understand what was given. Now he says, Buddhyadi cheshta vishayam ched brahmedam taditi visheshatah gruhyeta buddhyadyuparame cha grahana karanam कारणम अभावात् अनुपलभ्यमानं नास्ति एव ब्रह्म. Because the problem is, when senses are withdrawing, mind is withdrawing, here buddhi is withdrawing, intellect is withdrawing, you will end up into nothingness if you are not conscious. Very important point. So here he is saying that the Brahman, the absolute reality, the pure consciousness, because it is not a subject which can be known, apprehended by the senses or the mind or the intellect, it cannot be known. Aprapya manasa saha. It's not an object. Senses cannot objectively perceive it. Mind cannot imagine it. Intellect cannot conceptualize it. Then how do I come to know the truth? That is the question. The only faculties we have is these three. Now how do I come to know the truth? So here it is told, because if it had become if the self was the supreme consciousness or the pure consciousness or the truth had become a topic of the intellect, then the intellect would have come and concluded, hey, this is that. This is how we speak, isn't it? This is how we speak about everything in this world. This is the computer, this is the phone, this is the picture, this is the bodh, these are the books, this is the day. This is how intellect concludes everything. But can it conclude about the truth? Can it conclude about the truth? Not possible. Because it is not a topic for the intellect to conceptualize. And yet, what are we doing? We are not conceptualizing. Then what are we trying to do? We are trying to remove all ways by which conceptualization can take place. You understand? So that no idea about Brahman is created in the mind. It is not. Arre? Brahman is the truth. Yes, it is the truth. But it is not available to the senses, mind and intellect. अरे फिर कैसे पता चलेगा? How will we come to know if it is not possible for the senses and the mind and the intellect? For this, all this discussion is going on. That is it possible or is it not possible? So if it was a topic of knowledge, then intellect, just like intellect can conclude this is a laptop, this is a light, this is a glass, it could have come to the conclusion this is Brahman. But because it is not a topic, but here we are talking about dissolution of the senses, dissolution of the mind, and dissolution of the intellect. What do you mean? If you remember from last class, senses bring the stimuli in. Where? All the stimuli which enter through the senses appear as thoughts in the mind, isn't it? And thoughts in the mind are known by the eye. Every object is known by eye. Whether you are seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, right now you can apply it on yourself. Seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking, imagining, conceptualizing, listening, talking, nodding, sitting, experiencing. Everything is done by who? By I, isn't it? Sthiram indriya dharanam. So now, if the senses have become quiet, no stimuli is coming into the mind. Now I will interact with what? If there are no thoughts available in the mind, if there are no objects available in the mind, not thoughts, if no objects are available in the mind, I will interact with what? Aham without idam. What happened to aham? It will also dissolve. In other words, if I put it in another language, if mind dissolves, if there are no thoughts in the mind, intellect also dissolves. Because aham is in intellect and idam is in the mind, isn't it? This is clear, I suppose. So if intellect dissolves, if intellect also withdraws, then how will knowledge of truth take place? Huh? We never think like this, isn't it? All our knowledge is based on intellect. But if intellect on the seat of meditation or wherever, even now while listening, if everyone is not on video, so while listening, you can just drift away. Either you can drift away mechanically because requires lot of focus and alertness on the topic that is going on. If you are trying to understand, it requires even more focus and alertness. But now we are telling you cannot understand. It requires a different disposition, completely different disposition, which is independent of senses, mind and intellect. Without going to sleep, that you cannot become alert at the last moment. Very difficult. You have to become alert from the beginning when the withdrawal starts. In fact, you have to live an alert life. In that alertness, the senses, the mind, and intellect sometimes get involved, sometimes get withdrawn, sometimes get involved, sometimes get withdrawn. And if that alertness is practiced, maintained, stamina is built up, then when the natural withdrawal takes place, then you don't then it doesn't become a default because you have practiced being alert. You're understanding what we are saying? So, right now, tonight also, practice. Naturally, the senses will withdraw from the sense objects. Naturally, the thoughts in the mind, objects in the mind will reduce. Automatically, there will be no data available for the eye. At that time, you check what happens to you. You remain awake or do you go to sleep? If you go to sleep, pramad. If you remain alert, tomorrow you will complain, Swamiji, what exercise you gave me? Whole night I was awake and next day I have to work, this, that. See? But practice. 1 or 2 days, no sleep, how does it matter? You'll find a new way. Because it cannot tire. Living in alertness cannot tire you. If you are forcefully doing it, it will tire you. If you are joyfully doing it, it will not tire you. For that, mumukshutvam is required. Samadhan is required. Then there will be no tiredness. Then you are not running away from anything. And there is neither running towards. It's as if the world is out there and the truth is in there. There is nothing like that. Truth is everywhere. Truth is all pervasive. But when this will comes, that I must be alert, that tires you. If you have a deep urge to know the truth, that itself will lead to alertness. That urge, without that yearning, alertness is difficult. Alertness without love for the truth, without that urgency for the truth, as it is, will lead to forced alertness. Then you are not withdrawing because I will put it in two different ways. One is you are not withdrawing because you love the truth, but you are withdrawing because you are afraid to get involved in the world. That is one way. And the other way is the natural withdrawal. And when that natural withdrawal is taking place, we are absolutely alert. Anyway, I'm speaking more than I'm supposed to be speaking here, because that will, let's see where they are taking us. यद्धि कर्ण गोचरम तदस्तीति प्रसिद्धम लोके विपरीतम चास च असद इत्यश्चानर्थकः योगः अनुपलभ्यमानत्वाद् वा नास्तीति उपलब्धव्यम ब्रह्मेति एवं प्राप्त इदमुच्यते. Here it is saying Now I went in my own train of thoughts. So here it is saying that when everything is collapsing, senses have collapsed, mind has collapsed, intellect has collapsed, meaning I has collapsed, then what is there? Then what is there? There is nothing. Such people, when they sit in meditation, they go into meditation, but when you ask them, where did you go? What? I went into meditation. But you know what was going on? No, there was nothing there. They were not alert. So, abhav. So, this abhav is only an opposite of something is what? Nothing. So, what are you withdrawing from? Something. What did it lead to? Nothing. Are you nothing? Or are you something? Another way I put it, are you somebody or are you nobody? So somebody, waker or dreamer, nobody, deep sleeper or meditator. Which one are you? Waker, dreamer, sleeper, or meditator? Or are you other than these? Think. Think. This is the refinement that is required, not in the seat of meditation. This refinement is required as you are living your life. Every moment, this alertness, vigilance is required. Not towards the world, towards the essence, towards the core, towards the spirit. So when there is nothing, when everything has collapsed, senses have collapsed, mind has collapsed, intellect has collapsed, and now there is nothing more to collapse. How can nothing be everything? How can nothing be Brahman? How can nothingness, emptiness, absence, void be equal to Brahman? Wrong conclusion. But yes, that void, that silence, that sleep, that non-alert meditation gives a lot of joy. You come out refreshed. You feel you were in bliss. Why? Because there were no thoughts to distract you there. But is that truth? How can void be truth? So here he says, यद्धि कर्ण गोचरम तदस्तीति प्रसिद्ध लोके विपरीतम च असद इति इत्यतश्चनार्थ अर्थकः योगः अनुपलभ्यमानस्त्वाद् नास्तीति उपलब्धव्यम ब्रह्मेति एवं प्राप्त इदमुच्यते. Everything in this world that is experienced by our senses is concluded as, through the senses, is concluded as is. I already told you this. I'm just going through the the bhashya. So this laptop is, this book is, this paper is, this glass is, this water is, this light is, everything is, isn't it? Is means what? It exists. Laptop exists, light exists, glass exists, water exists, body exists, past exists, future exists, present exists. So here he's saying this is how it is famously known, that it is popularly known that it is. Uh, and when we go opposite to it, opposite to isness, when the whatever is not available anymore, then what do you say? Here it is told, whatever that it is not. And what is that it is not? In Sanskrit, what do you call is sat? And what do you call it that is not? Asat. So now what is happening here? This is explaining what we just told before, that when the senses collapse, mind collapses, intellect collapses, before everything was known as is, and now nothing is there, you have come into the embrace of asat. You have come into the embrace of nothingness. You have come into the embrace of void. Because there is no thought. So you can't even say the void is if you are not alert. If you are not alert, you will fall into the lie. You will be absorbed into zero. If you are alert, two things can happen for some people. First is, oh, there's nothing. The other is, oh, why am I thinking this thought? If there is nothing, where did this thought appear from? Because there is nothing is also a thought, isn't it? And by grace at that time, if that person is alert, he becomes self-oriented. So here he is saying that therefore we are not practicing yoga by which we withdraw without alertness. We want yoga, it should lead us to the kevala sthiti. We don't want yoga to take us to the void. We don't want to go there. Because out of void, when you come back, again the world is. And then it goes on to say that अनुपलभ्यमानत्वाद वा नास्तीति उपलब्धव्यम ब्रह्मेति एवं प्राप्त इदमुच्यते. That because I did not experience the truth, the reality, the Brahman, because I could not come to know the Brahman, the truth, the self. Why? Because I ended up into the womb of nothingness. Why? Mechanically I went in. Without alertness, I allowed the senses, mind and intellect to collapse. I was not vigilant enough. And then the conclusion, oh, there was nothing, I didn't experience anything. It was nice, it was peaceful, it was very, very quiet and calm, but I didn't experience anything. I don't think there is anything to know there. I think scriptures are taking us for a ride. This could be one of the conclusions, okay? So that we don't get into this wrong conclusion. This 12th verse begins. You're understanding from where how the teacher is bringing you to this point. Then he says, 161st, 162nd. So here he says, repeat after me, Naiva vacha na manasa, Naiva vacha na manasa, Praptum shakyo na chakshusha, Praptum shakyo na chakshusha, Astiti bruvatoonyatra, Astiti bruvatoonyatra, Katham tadupalabhyate, Katham tadupalabhyate. Together. Naiva vacha na manasa, Praptum shakyo na chakshusha, Astiti bruvatoonyatra, Katham tadupalabhyate. This is like aprapya mana, that Taittiriya Upanishad statement. It is something like that one. Naiva vacha na manasa praptum na shakyo na chakshusha na eva vacha. It is not a topic of speech of the speech. Na manasa, it is not a topic for the mind to contemplate upon. I should not say contemplate upon, to comprehend. Or here the word used is praptum. So the speech cannot gain or illuminate the truth, neither the mind can gain the truth as an experience. Like, for example, if I say laptop, the word laptop came, immediately in your mind, some laptop will come as a form. If I say wall, immediately some idea of wall comes in your mind or in front of your senses, in your imagination. But if I say Brahman, nothing comes. All pervasiveness, no thought comes. Eternal, no thought comes. No picture comes, because it has got no boundaries. It is not an object. It has got no qualities. It has got no attributes. It is not qualified. Therefore, it is not an object for the speech or the mind, or na shakyo na chakshusha, or in other words, eyes cannot perceive it. In other words, none of the senses can perceive it, neither the mind can imagine it or experience it, nor the intellect can conceptualize it. What? The self. The Atma. Then those people, here it says, asti iti bruvato anyatra katham tad upalabhyate. Those people, bruvato, those who say asti iti, it is. Those who say, who are these saints and sages? What do they say? The truth is. Katham tad upalabhyate? How have they gained it? What practice? What did they do? If it is not a object of perception, imagination, gain, or conceptualization of the intellect, then I can't. There are these masters who say yes, it is. Still, they say that it is. How have they gained it? Katham tad upalabhyate? How did they gain tad, that upalabhyate, gained it? So that is the so this 12th verse and the 13th verse, they go together. This is very, very subtle. One has to be very, very alert. One has to be very, very attentive. And one has to be very, very subjective. Alert, vigilant, subjective, ekagrachit, single pointed towards the truth, towards the self, even though it is not a subject of your mind. Then how will you be subject towards the truth? By being it. That is what he's going to say now. But there is one penultimate step. Before being it, you first be convinced of it. That it is. That it is not. If it is not, or there is nothing there, then you are going into the nihilist philosophy. It is not is only an opposite of something is. Now something is not is called it is not. So is it possible that senses do not, all the faculties are null and void in front of it? Then how will I come to know? How will I come to know? I am asking you all right now before I go ahead. Then how will I come to know? How will you come to know? How will a seeker come to know? Tell. Remember, senses do not function there. Speech does not function there, mind does not function there, intellect does not function there. How will you come to know it?
Having faith in the scriptures and the Guru's teachings?
It is a good try. Okay, next. Anyone else?
By being conscious when we introspected ourselves.
By being, by accepting, by being, Swamiji.
Yes, both. Seb as well as Renuka. By being it. By being it. To be, remember this sentence again and again. I think, therefore I am, or I am, therefore thinking or not thinking goes on. So when we are involved in the world, our senses, mind, intellect are continuously objectifying. But now as they are collapsing, there is nothing to objectify. Does it mean self is not because it is not, they cannot objectify it? If their attention of the I is on objectification, he will fall into nothingness. If the attention of the I is not on objectification but on the consciousness itself, then as the faculties collapse, the absence or the nothingness is bypassed. Then you don't get into the vortex of nothingness. No black hole there. No black hole there, which sucks in everything. So, here the bhashya now. Now, with that thought, keep it in your mind, and we'll now understand what the teacher Adi Shankaracharya is explaining here with regards to this verse. नैव वाचा न मनसा न चक्षुषा नान्यैरपि इन्द्रियैः प्राप्तुं शक्यत इति अर्थः. The meaning here is that Brahma, neither by speech nor by mind nor by eyes or neither by any of the other senses can be gained. Simple. These senses, they function in the objective world, but that which does not have a form, that which does not have a quality, that which does not have a attribute, that which does not have any that which cannot be named by any word, because no vacha, you cannot speak about it also. So, sir, what does it mean? We call it Satchidananda Swarup, we call it Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarup. Nah. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says they are abuses to the truth. You can't even call it that. Then why do we use these words Satchidananda? We use the word Sat to cancel Asat. We use Chit to cancel Achit. We use Ananda to cancel Dukkham. But truth is far beyond the word Satchidananda. No word sticks to it. Words are only in your mind. And because your mind is oriented towards Asat, Achit, Dukkham, therefore, initially, these new vocabulary is introduced, Satchidanand, so that the Asat, Achit and Dukkham are neutralized. तथापि सर्वविशेषरहितः अपि जगतः मूलम् इत्यवगतत्वाद् अस्ति एव कार्यप्रविलापनस्य अस्तित्वनिष्ठत्वात्. Here it says, even when everything has collapsed, when the pralaya has taken place, every night pralaya is taking place, even when everything has collapsed, even then he is the moola, he is the root, he is the essence of even that collapse. Not only of everything that was. Remember, laptop is, light is, glass is. In sleep or in lie, nothing is. The all isness is gone. Even that, the moola, the essence of that of all objectivity is that essence. So here it says Sarva Vishesha Rahita. Sarva Vishesha. What is Vishesh? Every object is Vishesh. Or Vishesh means specific. So when all specificity is removed, what is specificity? You now start defining. Start from the gross. You answer. I have spoken it many times. One by one. What is specificity?
Which has name and form.
Okay, which has name and form. So everything in this world we know as name and form. So it is specific. Next, go within little bit.
All the thoughts,
No, in between there is something else.
Mano, buddhi, ahankar.
No, that is far. You're going further away.
the breath,
No. Senses. All the names and forms cannot be known without the senses. All the stimuli are specific, whether it is sound, touch, feel, taste, smell. The next subtle specific will be the senses. Then subtler specific than the senses is the thought. Subtler specific is the I than the thought, isn't it? And when the I is also gone, then what? So here it is saying, sarva vishesha rahita. When all specificity has gone, rahita. Rahita means without any specificity. Rahita api jagataha moolam. Even then, it is the moolam, it is the root, it is the essence of the manifest as well as the unmanifest. See, this cannot be worked out if you are thinking about the world outside. This cannot be worked out. You have to apply it on yourself. Because here the mool is you. The self is you. The Atma is you. And unless and until your poise is towards that, it will not click. In this verse, we are not trying to experience it. We are trying to come to a conviction, conclusion that it is. It is not that it is not. Because all faculties are not able to function, that means it is not. We are not coming to that conclusion. Here we are coming to the conclusion that it is. So yeah, that's why the word, that it is the essence of all specific manifestation, and when that specific manifestation collapses, it becomes non-specific. Non-specific manifestation, another word for it is unmanifestation. Got it? Continuing. And when we come to know that it is the root, that it is the essence of manifestation and unmanifestation, that is. See, now if you are reading books, if you are looking at the world, manifestation is this world, and then unmanifestation, arey kaise work out honga, how will I work it out? You will pull your hair, you will put your hand over your dadi again and again, but answer will not come. Unless and until you don't apply it on yourself. What is your experience of manifestation, of specificity? What is your experience of unmanifestation? And when we are saying that it is the root, it is the mool, it is the essence of manifestation and unmanifestation, don't look out there. What is behind the world of objects, the specific objects? What is there behind the void? You can't come to that conclusion unless you are subjective. For whom is this? The root has to be when there is manifestation or there is unmanifestation, in whose presence it is happening. In whose presence it is happening. That's the one. Don't name it, be it. And why is it said that it is? Because any movement, any activity must have a cause, must have a foundation. River is a movement of water. It has a foundation called riverbed which does not move. Correct? Continuously there is a river of I know this, I see that, I hear this, I am waker, I am dreamer, I am sleeper, I am tired, I am excited, I am hungry, I am thirsty, etc., etc. I am. Continuous river of thoughts happening. Be very subjective right now. Continuous river of thoughts happening. What is the constant? Are all the objects of the thought constant? Is the I who's associating with the objects, is that I the constant? Or the one who knows that these thoughts are coming and going, appearing and disappearing? So here the teacher is not coming to that point yet. Teacher is saying movement can take place only if there is a foundation for the movement to take place. Movement cannot take place in nothingness. You need a solid base. I cannot write in thin air. I need a blackboard. I cannot project myself as a picture in nothingness. I need a screen. Waves cannot appear in nothingness. They appear on the foundation of water. So what is that foundation on which the specificity and non-specificity, manifestation and unmanifestation, in other words, the whole, what do you call, the involvement and withdrawal is taking place. What is that foundation on which the involvement and withdrawal, manifestation and unmanifestation, the yin and the yang, the flux, the throb. Throb cannot happen nowhere. So for any, here the rule is telling, for any movement to take place, there must be a foundation. Then continuing, तथा हि इदं कार्यं सूक्ष्मतारतम्य पारंपर्येण अनुगम्यमानं सद्बुद्धिनिष्ठाम् एव अवगम्यति गमयति in this manner, he idam karyam sukshma taratamya. Taratamya means from gross to subtle, subtle to subtler, subtler to subtlest. And that's what we just now did. That the gross was all the objects in the outside world, then subtler than them, for them the constant is the senses, then senses became the changing, then the constant for the senses was the mind, then the mind thoughts were changing, then the constant for them became the I, then we saw I was changing, then what is the constant behind that I, in whose presence all these changes are taking place? Straight away we cannot come to that. When I put it in this manner, you can appreciate at least that there is some foundation. Logically you can understand, maybe not experientially at the moment, but logically you must understand. Because even the I thought is coming and going, and that is movement. And if it is movement, what is the foundation on which this I thought is coming and going? Fascinating, Anna? We never think like this. But then it is Upanishad. It is not for... It is taking you straight to yourself. Continuing. So all this movement, whether it is gross or it is causal or it is, gross or subtle or subtler or subtlest, or it is cause and effect, that is also movement, because every effect must have a cause. Cause alone is expressing as various effects. So cause and effect is also movement. What is the foundation? So here it says, it indicate, here I am saying that there is a foundation. Here it is saying that all this movement, gross, subtle or causal, is indicative towards a non-moving principle on which this movement is taking place. Only appreciate it at the moment. If you can be subjective, fantastic. But it must lead to this clear understanding, conviction with pure logic. Shankaracharya ji is presenting. Yadapi Vishaya pravilapanena pravilapyamana buddhistadapi sat pratyaya garbha eva viliyate. So here he says, at the moment when the Vishaya means any object, gross, subtle, causal. So at the time when the Vishaya is becoming unmanifest, any object is becoming unmanifest, for example, the stimuli, the senses, the thoughts, the I, all of them are objects and they are becoming unmanifest. And as a result, buddhi also becomes, buddhi means I here, I also becomes unmanifest. At that time, that thought, so here again, be attentive. At that moment when all the thoughts, first it was multitude of thoughts of the world, then it was only the sense five. From all those thoughts you came to the five senses. From the five senses you came to the mind. From the mind you have come to the I. So you are refined yourself. Your thinking is becoming refined. You're contemplating on the I. That's why you have come to this point. Otherwise, you could not. So here he says that Satpatya Garbha eva viliyate. At that moment, when the I also gets viliyate, when the I, which is when your thought to the exclusion of everything else is on the I, it is called Sat Pratyaya. So as long now what you are doing, instead of thinking of asat, if this is not, this is still at the mind level, instead of thinking of all objects, now you are thinking of subject. You have deleted all objects from your mind. Now only the subject I is left. And when that I thought also becomes unmanifest, here it says, here it says, not when it manifests, it will also become unmanifest at some time or the other. Then it says, buddhir hi na buddhi sorry, यदापि विप्र विषय प्रविलापेन प्रविलाप्यमाना बुद्धिस्तदापि स सत् प्रत्यय गर्भैवलि then it says बुद्धिर ही न प्रमाणम सद असतः what is that बुद्धिर ही न प्रमाणम सद सतोर्थाय सतोर्याथात्म्यवागमे. What is the word? Sat, asat, I don't know what that word is. But anyway, the meaning is to know right now when I say the words manifest and unmanifest. Be very attentive. When I say the word manifest and unmanifest, when I say the word something and nothing, when I say the words specific and non-specific, did you understand? I'm asking you all. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, you can understand specific objects. You can understand specific objects. But how can you understand non-specificity?
It's an opposite of
No.
specific.
So you have not experienced that, but you are saying that the non-specific is also an object, isn't it? So here he is saying, the teacher is saying that Sat and Asat both, manifestation is Sat because this is a laptop, this is a glass, this is a phone, this is Sat. It is. And unmanifestation is what? It is not, there is nothing. Is not. Asat means is not. So is and is not. Sat and Asat. Chit and Achit. All these opposites are happening in the presence of someone. This dialogue is taking place in your buddhi. Sat Asat. Chit Achit. Manifestation, unmanifestation. These are concepts. Changeable concepts. They keep changing. Who knows it? In whose presence they are happening? What is the common denominator? What is the foundation on which these two are coming and going? What is that? So here it is told that it is only, so I have taken one step ahead for you. We will come back again one step. Here is saying that buddhi, intellect alone is the proof to establish existence and non-existence. Buddhi alone. Because just now when I asked you the question, manifestation and manifestation, sat, asat, you answered. So when you answered, self cannot answer. Who answered? The one who was thinking. What was the question? I think I know the answer. Answered. So anything that is put in words, words are specific. Again. So here he is saying that buddhi is the praman. Buddhi is the valid means by which we establish existence and non-existence, specificity and non-specificity. Maybe we don't, because it is the buddhi, when it has got nothing in it, no objectivity in it, it says, oh, there was nothing. So it is able to say that. So here again, here he has said that the sat and asat are both validated by the intellect. Continuing, 62, 63. Moolam chet jagatah na syad asat vitam moolam chet jagatah na syad asadan vitam evedam karyam asidati asad iti evam gruhyeta na त्वेतद अस्ति सत असद इति एव tu gruhyate. If there was no foundation for the jagat, if there was no foundation, the unchanging foundation for the world, then this, what is saying? Then this whole world would have collapsed, and that collapse, all specific, if there was no foundation, then the whole, see, for example, I'll tell you, if there was no foundation for the river, then what would have happened?
Ocean.
What would have happened? There will be no river. There will be only floods. If there was no foundation of water, if there was no foundation of water, then what will happen to all the waves? It's a stupid question actually. Because if the foundation is not there, there is no waves. And then there is no question. So here he is saying that if there was, now we are not going to the foundation of the truth or anything. Here we are saying that if there was no root of the foundation of the jagat, then the jagat would have become, would have dissolved, and it would have dissolved into what? It would have dissolved into asat, and that is what we experience every day. And this is how we come to know on a daily basis. Here it says that, here he says that sad asad iti eva tu gruhyate. Gruhyate means we come to understand. What is that? That because there is a foundation, because of that foundation, the manifest is becoming unmanifest, Sat is becoming Asat or transforming into Asat, and then again Sat is coming up, then again Asat is coming up. So in this manner, understand. But it is not like this. Here it is. Now he is refuting what he has just said. But it is not like this. Yatha mrudadi karyam ghatadi mrudadyan vitam. So here we have already talked about it, but I will tell you in short, because here he says, but this it is not like that it becomes unmanifest. Then what does it mean? He says the Jagat, the world is. This is how we come to know. The waking is, the dream is, the deep sleep is. So here he is saying that just as a pot, even if it is not, still the foundation, which is the mud, it continues to be. So whether there is a pot or there is a no pot, mud continues to be. So similarly, whether there is manifestation or there is unmanifestation, manifestation of specificity, unmanifestation of specificity, manifestation of a pot, unmanifestation of a pot. But did it make any difference to the mud? So what is that? I'm taking a bit sideline. What is that? Manifestation of thought, unmanifestation of thought. We are living at only thought level. Go back a little bit. What is that material? Manifestation of a wave, unmanifestation of a wave.
Consciousness.
Unmanifestation of the wave. Water is the constant. Water itself appeared as manifestation, as name and form. Name and form vanished, dissolved. Was there unmanifestation or was there only water? Similarly now, this is on the seat of meditation. When the last thought dissolves, does it lead to nothingness? Or there is only the self? When the wave dissolves, is there no wave or there is water? So when the last thought dissolves on the seat of meditation, is there no thought equal to unmanifestation is equal to asat? Or is there the conscious self, is there the self as the foundation continues to be? This is the refinement that is required. Here it is easy. I am talking, you are listening. And while listening, be there, because so step by step Upanishad is taking us. No, what do you call, error in its explanation. Systematically it is taking you. I am only deviating here and there sometime. out of excitement. I want to complete it. Complete not the thought, but I want to complete means come back to the source every time. I have to hold my horses to go with the Upanishad, with the explanation of Adi Shankaracharya. So here he says, whatever, तस्मात् जगतः मूलम् आत्मा अस्तीति एव उपलब्धव्यम्. Therefore, the root cause, the unchanging cause, the foundational cause, the unchanging foundation of the entire world is not nothingness, it is Atma. Here it says, Tasmat Jagataha Moolam. The mool, the root cause of the Jagat, of the world, is Atma Astiti, is Atma. Eva Upalabdhavyam. Gain that Atma. You are that Atma. Be that Atma. Not gain that Atma, be that Atma. At this moment. Continuing. Give me 5-10 more minutes. I'll complete this and then we can come back and explain the last part. Okay. Kasmat. There he says. Why? How Atma is the root of the world? Astiti bruvato asti अस्तित्ववादिना आगमार्थानुसारिणः शब्दधानाद् अन्यत्र नास्तिकवादिनी नास्ति जगतः मूलमात्मा निरन्वयम् एवेदं कार्यम् आभ्यान्तं प्रविलीयति इति मन्यमाने विपरीतदर्शिनी कथं तद् ब्रह्म तत्त्वत उपलभ्यते न कथंचन उपलभ्यत इति अर्थः. Because Atma is because those who are positive thinkers, here he is saying positive thinkers. What is this positive thinker? Those who have studied the scriptures. See, what is Sanatan Dharma? What is the basic foundation of Sanatan Dharma? How do you know you are a Sanatani? I'm not talking about that I am the self. No. How do you know? Because if I am the self has to be given somewhere. It's not your word versus mine. So Sanatana Dharma is those people who follow and accept the Vedas. They are Sanatan Dharmis. And those who do not follow the Vedas, they are not Sanatanis. Who falls into that category? Everyone who have come out of the Sanatan Dharma. To be very, if we are thinking of thoughts here, okay? So whether they are the nihilist philosophy, or there is the Anu philosophy, or there is the Charvak philosophy, or there is the Nyaya philosophy, or there is the misunderstood yoga philosophy. All these do not, they talk about Atma, but majority of them don't even take you there. They take you to Samadhi, they take you to nothingness, they take you to the atom being the source of the whole creation. So who are these people who say it is what the Upanishad is saying is correct? because they have experienced it. And here it says that, so those who have studied the Shastras and they have faith and have realized these people are different from the Nastik Purushas. Nastik Purushas, non-believers, those who say there is nothing. In Vedanta, in Sanatan Dharma, we say it is. It's a positive affirmation. It is a positive conclusion that Atma is. Self is. If you remain, self cannot be known, then who is saying you are only at the mind level? But we already said mind cannot come to know the truth. Because mind cannot come to know the truth doesn't mean that self is not. It's beyond conception, it's beyond imagination, it is beyond the sense perception, it is beyond all objectivity, it is beyond manifestation and unmanifestation. All these changes, what I have just now talked about, it requires movement of thought. All this movement of thought is happening in the presence, or in the root of it there is someone. All the movement of waves is happening because some constant element is there, and that is water. Water alone is appearing as the wave. And when the wave disappears, there is not absence of wave, there is only water. So when the thought disappears, there is no, you don't come to no thought. Then you come to the self. Maunam Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Dakshinamurti Stotram. And we are obsessed with nothingness. On one hand, we enjoy the deep sleep, and if it happens in the waking, mind becomes empty, we become afraid of the empty mind. Such people cannot be helped. So come to the correct, first understand. Now, next, I am taking more, but here he's just telling, first become clear about this. And then he says, just quickly conclude it. So who are these Nastik? These Nastiks are those people who believe that the root, the essence of the world is not Atma. And they believe that absence of Atma itself is the ultimate. Absence is the ultimate. That is what their conclusion is. The shunya bhav, shunyata. If I have to use the word, this is the nihilist philosophy. Nothing is. No, we don't accept that. But we have just now showed to you that both nothing and everything, Sat and Asat, something is at the root of both. Manifestation and unmanifestation is a game, is a dance going on, or on some substratum. That substratum alone is playing the game with itself. The water alone is playing the game of wave and no wave. The consciousness alone is playing the game of thought and no thought. Accept this about yourself. And this also as if. Here we are not going to get lost in the game. We are coming to the core in this verse. And so those who are thinking contrary to the Upanishad, those who are thinking that asat is the ultimate, nothingness is the ultimate, that the self cannot be known, how can they ever come to realize themselves? How they can ever come to realize themselves? In other words, they can never come to realize. Having siddhis, having great powers is not equal to realization. Being able to be born again and again is not a sign of realization. Once realized, there is no birth and there is no death. Birth and death is of a wave. Once the wave realizes it is water, then from water's point of view, there is no birth of wave and there is no death of wave. And there is no reincarnation also. See? And see where majority of the religions are stuck. Including Hindu. But here we are not talking about Hindu, Buddhist philosophy. We are talking about philosophy, and we are not talking about any religion. We are talking about the truth. Truth has got nothing to do with religion. So next, in the next verse, they will talk a little bit more about those who believe in Asat as the ultimate, that it is not. What do Sanatan, what do the Vedas believe? It is. What do those who do not accept the Vedas say? It is not. But we have already shown you, it is and it is not. Sat and Asat are only at the mind level. What is the root of it? What is the foundation of it? What is the substratum of it? That you are. We'll talk again, we'll recap it next week, and because very, very wonderful, and take it from there in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a moment. Hari Om.